Hey everybody, we asked a little bit earlier if you had interest in a Facebook Live about potential for strong thunderstorms this weekend, and we did get a positive response on that. I mean, in the end of all this, if you guys want to see it, we're here to do it. This is my first video of the day, although I did make a sneak peek on Rick's
You
video a
had an
little bit
appearance.
earlier.
Yeah.
But just a reminder, guys, if you're jumping in on our lives, if you're joining from the Facebook pages, this is an important one. When you share this page or share this video, you're going to allow us to reach more people. And I say this a lot, but one of the important things is about 150 people on my page right now. Let's say you've got 50, let's just say 100 people that follow you. When you click like, that would mean now 15,000 people are going to be alerted. Hey, the Storms Prediction Center in our region, they have a severe weather risk for the weekend. Some are like, well, I've got plans for this weekend. That's an important video for me to jump in on. So when you share the video, you're letting all your friends and family know, hey, this is an important video. We're going to talk about severe potential for the weekend. We kind of originally had thought about, do we want to do this video tonight or wait until tomorrow? But there was a response, and I think that in the end of this, we have some time tonight. Why not?
What can you lose? We're creating awareness. The forecast hasn't really changed much. There are some subtle differences, but overall, the risk itself is pretty much in the same spot it had yesterday. So I feel like now that we've had 2 days of seeing this risk, it's about time we address it and give some information as to what this weekend holds.
And one of the other things is, and Rick, you know, you and I deal with this a lot, but this is an impossibility now for us to avoid, is that the online chatter gets loud fast.
Yeah.
And, you know, when this week, I saw it this weekend when the risk was issued on six days out. I saw some of the constant people that will always post that the most horrible thing's going to happen. Severe weather, damaging winds, tornado, be aware, danger this coming weekend. The reality is that, look, could a tornado occur in the U.S.? You're like, that's easy, right? I mean, that's an easy one. Could it?
Could.
Sure. Our metric is different. We have a viewing area, and we cover a space that you want to know. And I'm not talking about what's going to occur in Missouri or what may actually happen in Arkansas. I need to know what's going to happen here. So the sensationalists get going wild real fast now. I mean, they know full well that by telling people the worst case scenario is going to happen, that their videos are going to get more views, and that is, it disturbs us.
It disturbs us, and the fact that the Storm Prediction Center is putting out day 6 risks. I mean, it kind of allows that pot to be stirred a lot earlier than we're used to. We talk about high-end events being warranted for these long risks, like, 5 days out, 6 days out or so. But, I hate the fact that every single time there's the potential, we're seeing these risks come out from SPC.
I know.
It's a little frustrating. It's definitely been the new norm.
Yeah, and that's, I think, a difference, Rick, is we used to not see day 6s on events that we knew were going to end up being low end.
They were reserved for the higher end ones.
Right, so we felt, as a weather enterprise, that if we were going to be talking about an event that may end up in a moderate or high, let's go ahead and get that risk out early. What has happened now is they're issuing risks that we all know full well are probably not going to get beyond slight.
Right. But
they're issuing these way in advance. So nonetheless, if you guys can share the video, let your friends and family know. Thumbs up if you guys do appreciate these videos. You can give the thumbs up on Facebook. If you're joining me on X, you can still comment. Remember, you won't be able to have the thumbs up and stuff like that. And if you're joining us outside of the envelope of what I just mentioned, remember, you can always join us on YouTube as well. And I know a lot of people have the apps on their TV and want to watch this in full, and YouTube's a great way to do that.
Proof to your point there, just got a comment from Kelly saying she has seen 3 different pages calling for an outbreak on Saturday. This
is what we're dealing with. I mean, it's like, the problem is we've built a lifetime on trying to get this right.
And trust.
Right. And the problem is with social is that you don't necessarily have a choice. Like when people seek us out on TV, you're seeking us out because you want to get information. Sometimes you'll open up your Facebook page and it's in your feed.
Right.
And maybe you don't want to see that, but you're now being bombarded with multiple people telling you severe weather and tornadoes are coming. What's their motivation? Simple. They want to make money off your fear. If it sounds gross to you, it should. And if you see that stuff, it's easy. Block them from your feed, and it makes it easier to deal with. So that's a little rant. Again,
Sorry,
please
I got you off track.
thumbs up if you guys appreciate the video, and also remember, just share this video. I've got 346 on my page right now. Sharing the video will bring more people in so that they can watch, and we're going to jump into our discussion here. So, Rick, one of the things that we talk about, I love your perspective on this particular one, what we call the severe weather ingredients, and it's because if you may not know this about Rick, Rick is would it be fair to say chef or just a cook, a lover of cooking?
Just enjoy a home cook is pretty much what it is. A chef, not that.
Okay,
but
Rick understands. I mean, he's brought us in a penne to
the penne alla bourbon.
Yes,
yeah.
So he's brought that into work before, and I could tell. Yeah, he's saying, yeah, I just would put a pinch of it. You know what makes that taste a little different? He's talking about these ingredients, and I'm just sitting there like,
I'm just hungry.
What? But Rick appreciates what it takes.
Yeah, and it's more of that feel. And listen, it's definitely something I use as therapy to kind of decompress and relax. And also, it's nice because cooking brings the family together, and that's always the goal. But the ingredients are important, and if you miss one, if you completely forget about it, let's say I was trying to make some pasta, and I didn't put salt in the water. It's going to not taste good.
And I would never even know why to put salt in the water.
Right.
But so when we bring that back then to weather, why does that matter? Well, the severe weather ingredients are the same way.
It's a recipe.
Mother Nature needs these 3 ingredients, and she needs these 3 ingredients in abundance. So this becomes important. Let's say you have one element that's really high, fuel. That's every summer day. Every single summer day, we have tons of fuel in our area. Now, every single summer day, we don't see severe weather. So what that means is the ingredients and the abundance of all of them in the same space at the same time become very, very important. So Rick, when we look at this, number 1 is instability, which is generated by warmth and high dew points. And if you were to give an analogy, the instability is fuel. It's what you put in the gas tank of your vehicle to get it going. It's what you put in the gas tank of Mother Nature to get the storms firing hard. From there, we need wind energy.
Wind energy. And like your analogy goes, wind energy is the engine of the car. The new Corvette, I love to use that one as the analogy because, you know, the fact that we have the Corvette Museum in Bowling Green, it hits close to home. But if you have a good engine in your Corvette and you have no fuel, how far is your car going to go?
Right.
Nowhere. It's not going to happen. And that's basically the proof of, you know, ingredients here is that you have to have their engine, you have to have the fuel, and then last but not least, we also need that forcing or that lift in the atmosphere to help produce thunderstorms. And when you have all 3 of those, you can check those boxes, but sometimes you can have all 3 but not have them at the right time. And there's so many things that go into severe weather forecasting. In terms of the wind energy itself, we always like to say winds of 35 knots or 40 miles per hour.
In the mid-levels.
In the mid-levels.
And it's an interesting one. And some people have asked me where this came from, because some people have never heard this one. Why do you need a certain level of wind energy in the mid-levels of the atmosphere? When Rick and I started working together, I shared some of you with what I was taught when I was chasing storms with the Doppler on Wheels crew. And there was a guy named David that was our main forecaster. And we wouldn't chase on days where the mid-level wind flow was less than 35 knots. And the argument is that the storms would go straight vertical. Makes sense. Of course, storm goes vertical, it gets real bad. Well, not necessarily. When it goes straight vertical, you've got this massive area of rain and hail that's now sitting on the updraft, the air rising. Understand that air rising is a lifeline. If you now put all this weight on top of the lifeline, it collapses and the storms pulse.
Just chokes it off.
They don't last as long. So this is a big deal. And we found this out through research, again, as I noted, with the Doppler on Wheels crew. So that mid-level wind, we've kind of used it as somewhat of a metric for our area for what we would look for. So Rick noted 3 levels of ingredients. We need these present at the same time, at the same strength. So from here, let's start to look at this. This is really what kind of ignited the storm of people talking about this, Rick. The slight risk of severe weather was issued for our area 6 days out, which was on Sunday. When the doomsdayers saw this, they saw an opportunity, and they're going to tell you the worst thing is going to happen all around the region, and this is a massive slight risk, and honestly, arguably it is.
It is, for sure.
But let's also be clear. SPC has made it clear that they issue a slight on day 6. That doesn't mean it won't end up as a slight at the end of it. Used to be it would end up as a moderate or high, but not in the current world.
And also where? The spatial coverage of that. I mean, right now, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, let me start over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 states are under this risk 5 days out, which means you're alarming all of those states that we could see strong to severe storms during the day Saturday. And with so many people having plans on Saturday, you instantly start worrying. You're like, oh, well, I'm supposed to be at this football game. We have a party to go to.
Yep.
You know, there's a wedding going on. There's so much happening on the weekend that instantly it just starts that, you know, your brain turning. Okay, well, is this something we have to deal with?
And that's what I saw a lot when we posted a, hey, do you want a video tonight? I saw a lot of people say, I've got a reunion, or I've got a wedding this weekend, or I've got something going on with my kids, or I've got this or that. And it became pretty clear that why not do a video and help out to let people know. But you can see there, Rick noted 8 states in that slight risk. And so around our region, obviously this ignited some concern. So just to be clear, there's not a lot going on around our region right now. I don't know what perfect weather is. I'm curious for you. For me, 65 to 75, sunny, low humidity, a little bit of a breeze would fall into my category of perfection.
I just keep it easy, 70 and sunny.
Okay,
that's
so
all. That's all.
This isn't good for you then. Maybe a little warm then.
Yeah, well, I like to not have the AC and the heat situation.
Okay.
I'd rather just turn it off, not think about it, and save a little money, put a little more in my pocket, rather than, you know, trying to chase the perfect temperature.
We can all agree that is a wise way to live life. And around our area, temperature right now in Louisville sitting at 71 degrees. It is beautiful outside. North-northeast wind 3 miles an hour. Looking out of Elizabethtown, your temperature right now is 58, 2.54. Loving that. Court, hope you're having a great evening right now. You're sitting at 66, 57. You're like, Mark, I thought you were going to talk about severe. Well, I am showing you what's going on around our area because I wanted you to see these dew points. They're not very high right now. So this kind of does make a difference. If you watch the beginning of the video, we talked about ingredients, and ingredients being fuel was the #1 thing we put up there. So do we have warmth and high dew points? What we know about severe in spring, Rick, is we get incredibly energetic storms. Spring is, for our area, the most energetic time of the year. Storms that we get in spring can be so windy that even at night, many times the temperatures won't fall. And in fact, sometimes they'll rise.
They'll rise, correct.
And when we look at the data on this storm, we don't see an ultra windy storm, which means that the temperatures should pull back on Saturday night.
Which is in our favor if we see that happening, because that means the atmosphere will cool. It will stabilize some out advance of the line that's moving in. And Mark, I think it's also a good point to bring up is spring is not our only severe weather season. Yes, we have the jet energy, we have a lot of fuel, but fall is the secondary severe weather season.
It is a secondary peak.
Because we get some of the wind energy with the jet stream moving down.
And that's the key, always wind energy.
That's the key, because you can't get the same fuel you have during the spring oftentimes.
There's the rarity, obviously, of what occurred like in 2021.
Exactly.
But that was the anomaly.
It's the anomaly, and what happens is oftentimes the wind energy can kind of make up for the lack of some of the fuel instability, which you may hear the term CAPE or convective available
somebody
potential
just asked
energy.
about that. Hyper King.
Oh, okay. Hyper King, see?
Just asked about it.
You read my mind, Hyper
Isn't
King.
this cool, though? Like for us, you guys got to understand, we've spent a lifetime trying to educate and teach about weather. I've been in TV for 25 years, in the Louisville market for 21. Rick's been in the Louisville market for 13.
Yeah, 13
and
years.
so you've been in TV for 15 total.
Yes.
So we've spent a lifetime trying to educate on weather, and there is an incredible gratification now in seeing that. So somebody said and asked, what's the CAPE going to be? CAPE is convective available potential energy. And I'm going to step out, Rick, as I'm going to show what that means real quick.
Uh-oh. Should I be nervous?
No. I'm grabbing something here.
Okay.
So I'm going to do a little bit of an example. So for you, maybe you know what CAPE means. For you that doesn't, I want to explain. CAPE means convective available potential energy. Potential energy. Do you remember back to school? Some may be like, I heard that. What? Okay, so potential energy. I put this this football above the desk. It has now potential energy, because if I drop this football, it's going to speed up. If I put the football right here on the middle of the table, there is no potential energy. It's stuck. It's in a stable position. If I put it up here, this potential energy is potential. If I drop it, that's now real energy. So the convective available potential energy works the exact same. What we're asking the atmosphere is, if I give you a bump and I lift that air, how much energy are you going to have available? And that's what CAPE, or convective available potential energy, is. That's generated by warmth and high dew points. So warmth around our area. Well, yeah, I mean, it's 70, Rick. I mean, yeah, if the storm was ridiculously powerful, we could get plenty of fuel out of 70 degrees or so.
70 I call pleasant. It just seems...
But there's nothing that jumps out at
no,
that. I mean,
absolutely
either
not.
this storm is going to be incredibly powerful with really cold mid-level temperatures, or it's going to have to get very warm at the surface, or the temperatures are not going to get warm enough. So, secondly, we also know that these temperatures are going to peak in peak heating. So this becomes very, very important. And then secondly, I'm going to show you these dew points around our region right now. So the dew point's something that, it's funny, I was walking around the other day and somebody said, "Hey, Mark, dew points." And I smiled a little bit because I love talking about dew points because I think they're cool. I think they help. But when you're talking about severe, a dew point above 65 would be something that we would like to see. Now, Rick, if you're talking about getting dew points above 65 in our area, you have to ask the question, where are they going to come from?
Right. Where you see right now, there's nothing coming off the Gulf of Mexico.
And Kansas City's corn sweat. So.
Yeah, that's all corn sweat. It is, so Gulf of Mexico being shut down for business. And why is that? It's the wind direction. It's moving in from the north and northeast. You can see those streamlines
and you can
on the map
really well. I'm going to show you as well, by the way, on the regional shot.
Oh, and there's that high.
That's the shutdown.
It's shutting it down. So until that high actually goes away or gets on the backside, we need what's called return flow. And return flow is a wind from the south or southwest, which pushes air from either the Pacific or the Gulf back into our area. And it's not like dew points can rise instantly. It's a process that usually takes some time, several hours, to get those dew points to rise, which means we're not going to have any fuel until the winds change direction. Because right now, north to northeasterly winds, it's what you see is what you get. You're going to have low humidity. You're going to have sunshine because of that dry flow of air. You're not going to have the energy needed for thunderstorms.
So one of the things you notice here, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger, is there is a massive, massive low in the western part of the U.S. And I think, Rick, one of the crazy things about this one, mountain snow. There's a couple of feet that are going to fall in California out of this.
Yes.
I mean, a couple feet.
And they're dealing with flooding in Southern California as well.
You know, I was thinking about this. I mean, we've all seen the traffic out of LA, right? Like, it looks like 200 lanes wide.
Like they're not going anywhere.
And yet they're not going anywhere. And it literally is as far as the eye can see. And that's when it's dry. I would assume that rain out in LA is like feet of snow here. When it rains out there, it's probably pure and utter chaos.
I wonder if people in LA don't leave their house just because it's going to rain.
Right.
I mean, you know.
They're like, people can't drive when it rains.
It's not safe. I wonder what their mentality is because, I mean, you don't know until you live there.
So that's the low. And you can see that thing's a big fella.
Yeah.
So that low is producing mountain snow in the feet. In California, it's produced rain out of LA. I saw that there were special weather statements off the coast for shipping out of LA earlier, and that's the low. So what we know about a low like this, and I think this is really important, so I want to talk about it for a moment, is we haven't had lows this strong since spring.
That's correct.
And summertime, it's very common the jet stream pushes north into Canada. When that happens, that means basically we've pushed the belt of strongest jet stream winds further north. The fact that now we're starting to see buckles means the seasons are changing in Mother Nature. It's inevitable. You cannot keep one season forever in the OV. So the fact that we're now seeing big buckles shows us that the transition to a more energetic fall-like pattern is coming.
Right, which means more frequent storms. It's not like we're going to wait 10 days or 15 days like we have been recently. It's been a pretty stagnant pattern lately where every 10, 15 days we get some rainfall. Then we go dry, and then eventually that dry leads to warm, and then we get some rain, then we go dry, and then it gets warm. Basically, this is a sign that this particular pattern that we've been in for a month or so at this point is about to come to a screeching halt, and we'll get more frequent storms in here.
And the other part to that is it means that the buckles will bring wind energy into our area, which then comes back to what you said, is that we have a secondary severe season that occurs in the fall. If you were to like look on a graph, I mean, spring's up here. It's in the insanity of elite. If this was zero, fall does bump. And we do get tornadoes in fall. And on occasion, we get tornadoes in summer. We've seen them obviously in winter. 2021 jumps out. I remember in summer, remember the new Middletown tornado that occurred in July. I was on vacation on this one, which for a long time we joked because I was always on vacation. But the new Middletown tornado was a classic supercell. Do you remember the date? I know it was July, or it was either late June or early July.
I want to say it's July 2nd, maybe.
And that one had an incredible hook on it. I was covering
that one, but
yes.
I don't remember the exact date, but I do remember it was, your vacation, which
we normally put on the calendar at that time because there's not going to be weather.
Yeah, because that's typically when, the jet stream goes north. We get pole-style storms. We're not typically dealing with full-bodied supercells moving through, but this was a different scenario.
So we do get severe weather year-round. Spring's our peak. Fall's our second peak. So the fact that this low then is going to be coming across our area should raise an eyebrow, that this is going to have some wind energy. So what we're going to be doing here, and Rick, this is an interesting one. I'm going to make us a little bit smaller because this is what people were asking for on YouTube. So we're definitely seeing the knowledge on social, and I love when you guys show it. So we had somebody ask about CAPE, and I showed you guys a little bit of an example about what we're talking about for energy. So CAPE, let's just quickly talk about this. When we look at instability, we're looking at how much fuel is available. Whether we're calling it instability or CAPE, it doesn't matter. It's the same thing. The instability is the fuel that allows thunderstorms to go. Traditionally in fall, we have abundance of wind energy because, as we mentioned, the jet starts to buckle. We know that the fuel is going to be highest in the afternoon and evening. And I think in this particular case, Rick, that becomes a benchmark on this one. When do the storms arrive? And then second, you've seen this before, we both have, where we'll have a lot of wind energy and we might have a decent amount of fuel, but sometimes they don't juxtapose, meaning they're not at the same time.
Correct.
So as we then go into this and look at the data, on the left there are instability values, and I'm going to give you a moment to orient yourself. Top right part of the screen is the time. So we can see this is 2 p.m. on Saturday. 2 p.m. is the warm part of the day on Saturday. Somebody's probably thinking, okay, Mark, you're showing me fuel. What does it mean? So 200 units of fuel. Give me a reference point. So a reference point, I'm going to go back to a couple of our benchmark level events. March 2nd, 2012 had about 2,000 to 2,500 units. It was the day that Henryville and Pekin and Borden and Chelsea and Marysville were hit by the EF4. The September event from about 4 years ago, Mayfield, Dawson Springs were hit. Campbellsville got hit by an EF3, and then Bowling Green was hit by an EF4. That day had about 1,500 to 1,800 units of instability. On some of our more recent events, so in the spring of this year, when Louisville got hit by the EF3, I believe that one was around 2,000-ish. Yeah. And so 2,000 units would be on some of our benchmark level events. Is this elite level fuel? No, but when combined with a lot of wind energy, if you have 2,000 units of instability and you have a lot of wind energy, you have a serious problem, which then brings up the question, what's the floor here? So if this was peak heating and you have winds that change direction massively with height, what we have found is any amount of fuel will generate even a low end severe threat because it can, the winds, when they change direction with height, kind of change the game, Rick, because it can rotate the storms.
It just really enhances severe weather. And sometimes that rotation with those storms at height can actually, with the atmosphere being that twisty and turvy, it can allow storms to rotate. You can get really nice updrafts and downdrafts, so the storm ventilates quite well. So again, there's certain environments where storms do better, and when we have directional shear, it's always a red flag for us. We're like, okay, and we need to keep an eye on this one.
And so this one doesn't have a lot. So what that means then is we're going to have fuel. So in the fuel values here, if we had 800 to 1,000, I would say that's going to be enough to get the job done. So that kind of gives you then a reference point, so you look at the data and can analyze this. So we're looking at 6 p.m. on Saturday. And one of the things I want you to note here is, during the evening on Saturday and Saturday night, and I can see the smile on Rick's face because he's analyzing and we love to do this. But Rick, what we see here is between 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, midnight on Saturday, 3 a.m. on Saturday. There's not much.
No, there's hardly any. There's a couple hundred units.
But look at what starts to happen on Sunday morning.
So this is 8 a.m., by the way. Don't forget.
8 a.m.
The timestamp is on the top of your screen. That's 8 a.m. And that's when the dew point surge arrives. And you see numbers rising from around 200 to 304 and then close to 6. And again, this is during the morning on Sunday and then early afternoon, still close to 6, but then whew.
So refreshing what we just said there, because I think this is really important. If you ever watch our lives, what our lives are is analysis. Our lives are not what we do on TV in a 3-minute segment. This is analysis, and this is going to look at what we see. So in the evening on Saturday, we can walk through this. The fuel in the evening is only around 200 units all evening Saturday. It doesn't rise until around 6, 7, 8 a.m. on Sunday. That's when the most favorable fuel is available, is Sunday morning through about 2 p.m. on Sunday, which then bears the obvious question, Rick, can we match the wind energy at the correct time? Because what you're going to see here, remember what Rick said when we started the video. Rick, you said that wind energy in the mid-levels of the atmosphere, 35 knots, 40 miles an hour or stronger gets the job done. I'm going to leave this to you now to talk wind energy.
Okay. And I know you see 850 millibars and you're saying, what? What does 850 millibars mean? Well, that's a height. That's about a mile above the ground. So let's say about 5,000 feet or so. No one lives a mile above the ground, but that's the wind energy that we would be able to tap into and drag down to the surface. So let's inspect these winds and see if there's anything that looks alarming. So here we are, Mark, at 7 p.m. Winds are around 35 miles per hour.
Yeah,
45.
minimum threshold.
It's right at what we discussed, close to the threshold.
And remember the time, because this becomes crucial.
Ooh.
They pop.
They pop pretty good.
They pop really good on Sunday nights. So you see around midnight through 3 a.m., those winds are now about 50 miles an hour, a mile above the surface. Those are strong winds. Those are definitely supportive of severe weather.
Absolutely.
But there's something also that jumps out there, Rick.
Time.
The time is different.
The time.
So this is a big deal here. The time shows this peaking at midnight to 3 a.m. And I know what you're thinking is, Mark, you just told me, buddy, that there's no fuel. I mean, it's minimal fuel from around 7 p.m. through around 2 a.m. I mean, that fuel doesn't come up until 5 or 6. Rick, we need to look at 5 or 6 in the morning, because that's when the fuel starts to rise. The wind energy is going in the wrong direction.
Yeah. Well, and it's going in the right direction if you don't want severe weather, which we don't. But you kind of, alluded to this. We want to have the wind energy and the fuel together to get severe weather.
Together.
They are not together. You get the wind energy first and the fuel will follow. They're never meeting up, and we like to say juxtaposed. But
it's a very good word. Honestly, it's just fun to say. You say juxtaposed at home. I know you're going to enjoy it.
It's just try inserting that into a sentence during the evening hours. With your spouse.
Yes. Look, I'm going to juxtapose this water real quick
with your mouth.
Exactly. But Rick, what we see here, back to our point, as we have digressed once again, is that the fuel and the wind energy don't look like they're in the same area and the same time. And in fact, as we go into Sunday afternoon and evening, now the winds have gone into the wrong direction. They're not ultra strong. They don't meet our minimum threshold of criteria for severe weather. We see the wind energy pop on Saturday evening. Really, as we go past 10 p.m. on Saturday night through around 3 to 4 a.m. is when the wind energy is the best. So this obviously brings up the point. We do not own data. We just don't. We analyze. And you're probably saying, well, Mark, if what you're seeing is that the wind energy and the fuel are not in the same area at the same time, why are these people saying tornado outbreaks going to occur on Sunday? Why would they post that? If they're seeing the same thing we're seeing, why would they? Which is, I'm going to just say what is the obvious thing. It's easy to say I'm Facebook weather. It's easy to say I'm YouTube weather. There's a difference between meteorologist. Here's the thing. Look, I get that there's a lot of weather enthusiasts out there, and I appreciate them. Understand? I mean,
Totally.
You guys support us in everything we do, and we appreciate that. But here's the thing. Rick has a 4-year-old daughter. Let's just say you decide, hey, you know what? The doctor we go to, he's accredited, gone to a great school. He's passed the boards. But there's this other guy, Rick. This guy has spent hours upon hours on YouTube. He has watched every medical video known to man. He has watched every surgery video ever possible. He is an expert. Rick, you need to change to that doctor. I mean, that guy has so much experience on YouTube.
I would delete your number from my phone. So,
and that's what's happening. Unfortunately, in the current world, it has become a dumpster fire out there, where these guys have found that they can make money off this, and they can do it by scaring you. They have no meteorology degree. They've literally just launched a page and say blah 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 weather, which is a blatant obvious that you're not a meteorologist. If I'm saying Mark Weinberg's weather, I would say Mark Weinberg meteorologist, because I worked really hard to get that 4-year meteorology degree. I spent time in grad school. I enjoyed it, but there were times where I pulled out my hair. Look, you guys can see that hair was pulled out when I was trying to get this degree. But you would never call yourself weather. You would say you're a meteorologist because you work so hard at it.
And it goes right back to your analogy. If you don't have that, MD in front of your name as a doctor, how can you trust someone with your health?
And why would you trust them with their lives during severe when they're just trying to scare you? So from here, I know that there's going to be a lot of questions here regarding not just thunderstorm potential, but I know this one is going to come up a lot because I saw it in a lot of my questions. And what they were asking for is rain and the rain timeline. So I want to give you the timeline here. Rick, we have gone from, in the last 5 years, where virtually every single day had rain for Friday Night Football, to this year, where
I remember
my gosh,
the weather, the sports team would not let us down. They're just, is it seriously going to rain again every Friday? And I felt bad to a point. I was like, I'm so sorry. You're going to get crushed again with rainfall.
And so Friday Night Football.
Yeah. Redemption has been this year. We have had
the
most unbelievable streak of weather, and that's going to continue through Friday. Any Friday plans, if you're going to high school football, you are in good shape. But this is when the rainfall actually starts to arrive. So here we are, 5 p.m. Saturday.
And let's make that a little bit bigger so that you can get the timeline. Rick, top right part of the screen is your timeline. IU Bloomington, obviously IU, Michigan State's in town for a 3:30 kickoff.
3:30.
So the data right now shows showers approaching Bloomington around 5 to 6. And you're like, great, it's going to rain on the game. No, it's still 5 days out.
5 days out. We have to take that.
What we're going to do is paint the picture. We're not going to put all the details in yet, and we're going to be transparent that the details are still not exact on the hours.
Right.
This pushes back 3 hours. IU sees nothing during that game.
Exactly.
Secondly, Rick, what we see here on Saturday evening is the temperatures coming back. It's likely because there's rain falling up there. That's not making it down to the ground because the ground's dry. Second, we see the wind direction is southwest. Rick, you noted that when the winds change direction massively as we go upward in the atmosphere, we can function with less fuel. The winds are not out of the southeast on Saturday; they're southwest. So does that give us the directional?
No, it's more veered out. We don't have that backing. We see a southeasterly wind, we'd be way more concerned. But that wind, basically, it's called speed shear. We have directional shear, which is the winds changing direction with height. That's like the twisting. But there's also speed shear, where from the bottom to the top, the winds get stronger as you go up in the atmosphere. And that's the type of wind energy that we are seeing with the storm system on Saturday, not that more dangerous directional shear.
So then we are able then to assess that we cannot function with low fuel in this scenario.
Correct.
Because we don't have the directional change in our winds going upward in the atmosphere. Beyond this, that means severe weather it's not zero. You saw the wind energy. But what I'm telling you is this scenario normally precludes us from seeing event-style stuff. So when we look at this, Rick, when you look at that, I mean, you're not seeing bright reds in there.
Nope.
You're looking at rain. It doesn't look like that big of a deal. But, at 10 p.m., if you're asking, are we going to see rain? Yeah. Somebody just asked, are we going to see snow? No! There's no snow! But, yeah, I mean, we're getting towards that season. But, Ricky, what you see here is gusty rain showers.
Gusty, yeah. It becomes widespread there after midnight. So around 10 p.m., it shows now, again, being 5 days out, showing around 10 p.m. starting in Louisville. Trust me, that time is going to change. I don't want you to be frustrated when, it actually comes to Saturday and it's like, well, 5 days ago, he said around 10. This is going to be an evolving situation where you have to just check in continuously because the exact hour, I can guarantee you, will change. But for now,
but conceptually
it's showing closer to midnight you get, the better chance you have for rain.
Exactly.
Becoming widespread after midnight. You'll probably, if you sleep better when it's raining out,
Sure.
you'll get some good sleep Saturday night. We don't, because if we hear rumble of thunder, then our eyes just bug out of our head, and you start looking at your phone, checking radar, which is, that's just part of being a meteorologist, to be honest with you.
And Rick, one of the things that we saw when we looked at the data is the fuel comes up on Sunday morning, but the wind energy comes back.
And
So
temperatures,
when we look at the data here,
I mean,
it's because the cold upper level lows moving by. But here's the thing. Even if there's a couple of 100 units of fuel, our temperatures are dipping through the day on Sunday. This is not your little front.
No. Look
This
at
is a
the
bowl.
50s around noon.
This is a bowl. And then you can see that rain right now in the Euro lasts through 5 to 6 p.m. Rick, we both looked at a lot of data here, and I think it's worth showing that one more time, because I know that people are trying to make some plans. So let me go back one more time, and we'll go through that timeline. As Rick noted, late Saturday, rain chances starting to come up. The starting to come up, we don't have exact hours. What I would tell you is right now the data is honing in on around 10, the European, which is a highly reliable model.
Right, and GFS is showing it
And that's an
sooner than
American
that,
model. It
which
shows this early afternoon. If this was to occur mid-afternoon and we were to warm a little bit more, we might need to watch that. That said, the GFS is not a model of accuracy traditionally.
No.
So the data has focused on evening, overnight on Saturday. It shows that if you have plans on Sunday morning, I would be concerned about those plans not being able to function. The Euro keeps rain through around 5 p.m. Some of the data backs that rain off a little bit earlier, backs it off, let's say, more around noon to 2. So this is a conceptual model then that you can understand. So we go back to when we started this video, Rick. Is there anything out there that screams organized, widespread, severe out of this?
no way.
If I have plans on Saturday night, am I going to be able to get those plans in? And that's a question that's not as easily answered. And
You have to have both scenarios right now in play.
So what we're going to tell you is rain is going to increase on Saturday evening or Saturday night. Saturday night's rain probability is through the roof, 70 to 80%. Whether that starts at 7 or 10 or midnight, those scenarios are still in play. We're going to continue to throw darts as we get closer, but 5 days out, we're not going to throw darts. The conceptual model then is here as we move through the overnight on Sunday, some gusty showers, maybe some rumbles of thunder. Rick, but we're not looking at something that screams widespread severe. And when you have winds of 40 to 50 miles an hour, rogue severe can happen.
Sure. A couple of tree limbs could snap. You know, that's not out of the question. We still have quite a bit of leaves on some of the trees. We haven't stripped them all off, which means there's still surface area for some of those winds to grab onto.
And understand what he means by that. When he's saying the surface area, think about a tree that has no leaves on it is like my finger sticking up in a 50-mile-an-hour breeze. The wind's going to go around it. Now, if I put up a piece of paper in that 50-mile-an-hour wind, that piece of paper is going to fly a mile away from me. And those trees, while it may seem small, them being fully leaved right now means that you can get tree damage even if you don't have severe level winds.
Correct. It's just, I mean, if you have a weaker tree that maybe a little dry rot or just some branches that are getting a little old, it can happen. Every time we have some winds of 30, I see a couple tree limbs down, nothing major, but there are some twigs and branches that get knocked down just because I have, you know, an older tree in my yard. So it all depends on the conditions of the actual vegetation, and then you take into account how strong the winds are. Yes, we can see some minor wind gusts going through Saturday night into Sunday. Is it something that would alarm you or you should be concerned about or lose sleep over? No, absolutely not. So I just want to, at least at this stage in the game, put you at ease a little bit so your anxiety levels can come down. You don't have to worry that much.
And so from here, then if you have outdoor plans on Sunday, if it's before 2, you need to be concerned about that. If it's after 2, there's still some play there.
Lastly, believe the Euro. I mean, I know there's some data shifting, but it looks like a washout if you believe the Euro for Sunday, which means if you want to get outside this weekend, shoot for Saturday.
But earlier in the days, the better, obviously.
Exactly.
Lastly, I know we're going to get a lot of questions about this, specifically IU and UK, and I'll touch on the IU forecast here. So IU, I've got a 30% for you. I've got it late in the day. The game starts at 3:30, so for our tailgaters, I think you're in great shape. I'm still mind blown by what's happened in 2 years. I just can't believe you go from having 3 wins to being arguably in the one of the two toughest divisions, and whatever happens with Ohio State is going to be the king. But that's where IU is. It's unbelievable. So for the IU game, for our tailgaters, I love where we are. I think we're great. I think we'll see clouds increasing. 3:30 kickoff. I don't think the rain chance is very high. Because Bloomington's a little bit further west than UK, I'm going to bring your rain chance up to 30% by 7 p.m. at the end of that game. So my rain chance is going to climb as we move through that game. UK, Rick, UK has a 7 p.m. kickoff, being a little bit further east, but the game ends at 10 p.m. And I'm going to let you touch on the UK game here.
So that basically means the forecast is very similar. It may start out okay, especially for tailgaters, but as the game wears on, especially toward the second half, there's the possibility, not a guarantee by any means, but the possibility that there could be some storms nearby. Again, this is just, an outlook that's 5 days out. I would not take the timing as gospel, that's for sure, but it's something to keep in mind here if you do plan on going to the game, that storm chances are up later in the game, and then for the ride home, it's something to consider.
And,
so, prepare.
I would say, I'm weird about this, but the ponchos are super easy, man. I've worn those at so many games. You throw them in your back pocket.
It's like this big. You just,
exactly.
It's skinny. It's not too
or
intrusive.
Cut a hole in the trash bag and just put that in your back pocket. But that gives you protection in case you do get a shower. It doesn't look like the heavier rain will come until later.
Right.
So I think if you were to catch that rain, it looks more showery. But that's kind of where we stand on this one. Rick, you'll notice, has a computer in front of him now. So, Rick, we have now given you the ability to see questions. I can see him over his shoulder. Yeah. So when we end a video, we always want to go into Q&A. So number one, if you guys appreciate and you're in our Facebook eco space, throw some thumbs up and some hearts across the screen. Remember, you can share the video even after it ends. And I assure you that you have friends or family that would probably want to still watch this video even after it ends, because we're talking about weekend rain chance and thunderstorms. And I do want to open this up to questions. One of the great things that we have now with the live videos here, Rick, is we have the ability now to see questions and answer them in the live space of what we're doing, which we can't obviously do in TV. And so somebody asking here is asking, church on Sunday, will it be okay?
Hayden.
From Hayden. So if you're asking, do I think there'll be rain on Sunday for church? My answer is yes. I think it's a very, very high likelihood. So let's see here. Josh just jumping in on a question. I'll let you answer that one, Rick.
All right.
Somebody says, love how animated I get in the videos. You guys laughing and have a good time brings comfort. Rick, that's, you and I have talked about this one. The space of what we do, this is an area where I think we can kind of, it doesn't feel as tense sometimes as when we're in severe weather coverage, and it probably will be when we're dealing with wall-to-wall severe coverage in here. And remember, we will be in here. But it is an opportunity for us just to have a little fun, enjoy what we do. Rick and I get along really well. We'd be friends even if we didn't work together. So the fact that we're around each other all the time, I mean, it's a little always sad for me on Friday, and I'm not going to see Rick for a couple of days, but we're friends in here. So you guys kind of see, and this is something that all of our team has, when somebody's not feeling well, you have multiple people saying, how can I help?
Right.
It's a hallmark of who our group is. We all really like each other. When you think about, oh man, I got to work on blah, 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 someone else is sick, then you all of a sudden think, this is my friend and I can help them. And that's kind of a core of who we are. And you see a little bit of that in some of the videos that we do in here.
And truthfully, it's kind of candid, but this is somewhat the conversations we would have regardless of whether or not there were cameras in front of us. We'd be going through the data, check this out, look at this, and Mark would have the same animation whether or not this camera was on or not. That's just who he is. So it's just fun because it's almost like a little behind the scenes look of this is how we forecast. This is how we make sure that things will verify. And it's our credibility. And Mark, since day one, accuracy has been our policy.
Yeah, we never wanted to be number one in terms of who's going to get the forecast first. We've always had the metric of we want to get the forecast the most accurate. We've never tried to be first. We want to be right.
And I feel like, the meteorologist jokes of you can be right 50% of the time and still get paid, yada, yada, yada. You've said them, you've heard them. It's just something that we try to debunk and prove day after day that if you have a reliable meteorologist, someone you can trust and follow daily and not just cherry pick the kind of weather that you want, that most often than not, we're on top of this stuff, and it's not just Mark, it's not just me, Jude, Bryce,
It's a buy-in from
Matthew.
everybody.
We all have this philosophy, and we all have this desire to be the greatest that we can and to help you guys out as much as humanly possible.
And get it right. And you know what?
Yeah.
Somebody asked, Hyper King said, so mainly a wind event, not a tornado event. So number one, we don't believe event would apply to this.
Correct. Yeah.
We believe that if we were to see anything, it would be a damaging wind. We do not see anything in our area that says tornado event at all. So I want to say that. But you know, the other part back to what Rick is talking about is when your goal is to be accurate, sometimes you're not able to give, maybe it's not as interesting as the guy who's screaming tornado outbreak and bombarding you with 50 graphics that tell you why everything's going to go horribly, and they're cherry picking the graphics to make it look like the worst possible scenario ever. There is nothing that goes in our favor. We can do that. We might even get more likes on our pages. We might even get more people in on our videos. But that's not what we signed up for.
No. I mean, you probably would until at some point
You scare them all away.
Yeah, and that's just not. It's not the way we
this
operate.
is our community. Half these people that are doing some of this insanity, they don't care because they don't live here.
No.
If I'm wrong and I'm going to Kroger the next day, I have to see you. I have to talk to you. You could, Mark, you told me that 600 feet of snow was going to fall in 2 weeks. That never happened. So I think that part of this is the accountability that comes with living in the community. It's embarrassing when you get it completely wrong. When you tell somebody something horrible is going to happen and it doesn't happen, it's A, it's embarrassing, and B, it costs people money. These people may cancel their plans. They may cancel a trip. Somebody's losing out. How is that funny that I'm trying to cost other people money because I want to try to somehow pad my pocket with your fear? It's just really gone into a crazy place.
And a crazy place. You know, and that's the crazy part. On kind of the more humorous side is if a meteorologist is seen in the milk and bread aisle.
Isn't that funny?
Anytime around the winter.
Have you ever wanted to do that?
I have, but I also know that I might not make it out of the bread and milk aisle. I might be there for hours.
So I've wanted to do this. So I want to go into Kroger in the winter. This you may laugh.
We got a video. No, we should video this. This would be.
I want to go into Kroger in the winter. Maybe where
prior to a winter
we have a
storm.
20% on, let's say, day like 6, and I want to be walking through the bread aisle with like a tense look. And I want to have multiple. I want to grab a couple bags of bread.
Just have a cart.
And fill a whole cart with bread, and then go to the milk aisle and load it up. Make sure I have a suit on with a tie so people recognize me.
Be like,
and then just walk out and just watch how people would react. Like having in my tie, one of those little pinhole cameras so it could see people reacting to me.
Like,
they see me walking with this cart full, and they're like this.
What does he know that I don't?
What is he not telling me right now?
When I was at Kroger and I purchased a snow shovel one time, and the guy checked me out, he's like, "You trying to tell me it's gonna snow?" I'm like, "Yeah, there's gonna be a little bit." So
I get mine early in the year so that doesn't happen because I know.
I broke mine. You know me. Accidents happen.
Let me give this question to you, Rick. Harry is asking, saying, Mark, driving back from Lexington to Louisville Saturday night, is it going to be rough?
Yeah.
So if you're driving back, I would say after midnight.
He'll be driving into.
It's going to be windy.
Yeah.
And these are windy showers. So some 40-mile-an-hour winds will probably be common with these showers. Is it double, fingernails into the steering wheel? No. But, I mean, the car is going to be getting blown around.
You're going to have to.
I would drive it. Earlier is going to be easier.
It's earlier easier. If you take it slow, it's going to be fine. Just, definitely since we've been dry, sometimes a lot of the oil and stuff can actually collect and you get a little hydroplaning. But if you take it slow, it's something you can certainly avoid as much as possible.
And Rick grew up in a climate like me, so you're used to driving in snow. I drove in it. I learned, like, when I started driving, got my first car. I mean, I was driving in snow all the time.
Did your dad say lose control so that way you can get
We
it
went
back?
into a parking lot, and he had me lose control of the car to try to learn to see if I could regain control.
Exactly how I learned.
So, yeah, that's something that's fairly common where we grew up. But, yeah, I mean, but here, the joke always, I say this a lot. There's a reason that people can't drive in the snow here. Because they can't drive in the rain here.
The rain,
I mean, we get wrecked everywhere when it's raining.
And
if you get an inch of snow, it's literally. I saw this one day. I remember this story. So I'm driving on the highway.
Oh, I know.
I'm
this
going
one, yeah.
65 south. This was one of the events where I think we had 5 or 6 inches of snow on the ground. It came down really hard. And this guy blows by me on the highway. I'm probably going 40. This guy goes by me going like 80 miles an hour. And I'm like, what is this guy doing? And he literally goes and then gets off onto the Gene Snyder off 65. When he starts to get off, the right part of his car starts to go to the right. Of course, he overcorrects. The car loses control, goes down into the middle, and then starts to come back up the other side. The guy's going 80 miles an hour in the snow. And so I stopped, make sure the guy was okay. He was fine. He did not get hurt. His car was trashed. He did not get hurt. The vehicle didn't roll. But all I could think about is, of course, people are wrecking all the time in the snow. You're driving 80 miles an hour in the snow.
You're either going 80, you're going maybe 5 or 10 miles an hour. There's just snow in between. It's one of the extremes, and I feel like it's the having both extremes on the road.
Yeah, somebody's driving 20 and somebody's driving 80.
I feel like that's the core of the problems, which we're not going to get into. We can't solve that, but it's just an observation that's the stuff that meteorologists talk about.
And there's a guy in here named Brise Jonas.
Brise Jonas.
He said something about, and you're always getting on me for eating cookies. I mean, Bryce
has a sweet
Bryce
tooth.
is known to put away 10 to 12 cookies when they're out on the set. I'm sorry, Brise. Brise Jonas has been known. Brise, we appreciate your support and you joining in on the video tonight.
And I'm guessing
Tia Jenkins
we'll
in
hear
here
about this tomorrow.
Says her boyfriend said, if you guys do this, please warn staff first so they can hide in the back. What about West Baden? So Isaac asked this a couple times.
Okay.
West Baden time frame. I would say in the evening to early overnight. Start time is probably going to be 7 to 11.
Right.
Gusty winds, certainly possible. Rick, nothing speaks to our area about organized severe on
Nothing
this one.
does, no. While you do see that severe risk off to our west, could it expand and include some of our western communities? I wouldn't say it's impossible, but right now, being 5 days out, the data is going to change. The timing's going to change. So I would, it's a big spatial area right now. Oftentimes what they'll do is Storm Prediction Center will be able to kind of condense that and really hone in on certain areas where the parameters are higher.
Mm-hmm.
So for now, could it be expanded to our western communities? Yes. I highly doubt, and it shouldn't be in Louisville, the way things look right now. There could be some changes, but it's off to our west. And then what will happen, Mark, is the storm goes by. It doesn't show it strengthening as much as it did yesterday.
It really doesn't. Isn't that interesting?
It's very interesting. But still, there's some signals in maybe far eastern Kentucky where these storms could go
bimodal.
higher. Yeah,
Yep.
but again, we call it bimodal because it means there's two areas where we could have severe weather, and we may end up being in the gap. Correct.
And that's not uncommon. So what Rick alludes to is Saturday, the severe weather risk being to our west. It weakens as it moves across our area and then reflares in eastern Kentucky and generates some severe on Sunday.
That's a traditional thing that we see over and over again.
Yeah, the bimodal events are quite common actually in our area. So we'll go to 3 more questions here, and then Rick and I are going to get ready to go back on TV for WDRB News at 10 and 11 o'clock. I know. These videos, you've done about 90 minutes of videos today.
Okay, I'll feel it tonight when I get home.
Did any of you guys watch the video earlier? I hope that I posted in there.
The woolly worms, yeah. He popped in for a little while.
So I jumped in on the video just to say hi. So you guys can see that our whole team does these. This is not a Mark Weinberg thing. This is a WDRB weather. All of our group's going to be doing these videos. But we did an interesting topic on woolly worms because this is lore legend in our area. Persimmon seeds, lore legend. These rank up there high on people talking about them. You remember a couple years ago, I think it was 2 years ago, the persimmons showed knives and spoons. And we got 4 inches of snow the whole winter.
Come on, persimmon seed. The power of the persimmon seed is sometimes not so powerful.
We got 4 inches.
I know, it's just folklore. That's all we say. It's fun, but it's
great.
folklore. And in case you're wondering, there was a woolly worm we got this year that didn't fit into any category.
What was it?
It was orange. So we called
Could that mean that it's a baby, though?
No, we called it the pumpkin spice one of woolly worm in your honor, and you can go back. So if you want to go see that, we did a video earlier, Bryce and I, and yeah.
So I love pumpkin spice.
Yeah.
All right, so Duke is at Timothy Duke asking about Friday. Rick, I'll throw this one to you.
Yeah, Timothy Duke, you are good on Friday. You have nothing to worry about. It stays dry. It's going to be warm. Clouds increase. temperatures close to 80. Yes, you're going to get heat this weekend, and you may even feel some humidity if you're outside at the right time. That humidity and the instability, they go hand in hand, because remember, instability is not just warmth, it's also high dew points. And that surge will be Saturday night and then into Sunday morning. Sunday morning, if you're outside, it's going to be raining. If you really pay attention, you may notice a little stuffiness to the air, and that's because those dew points climb between 60 and 65.
Next question, this is question number 2. Ashley Anna saying, are we looking at flash flooding Saturday night into Sunday? So it's a really good question, actually. When we get rain,
we just got off that huge flooding event where we picked up 4.23 inches of rain, I believe.
Yeah, and this is not in that league. This one looks like a really, really beneficial 1 to 2 across our area. Could some small instances of flash flooding occur? I would say it's not impossible, but I would say that it's unlikely. There's not a lot of signals in here that show widespread flooding in our area, or even lower end, to be honest.
We've been dry and we've been warm, but the ground isn't as. Remember when it got really hard during that last round of drought?
Yeah, but that rain in front was helpful.
Right, so that it was a lot of it was running off because it couldn't really get into the topsoil. That's really not an issue with this time.
And last question here for the night is Rick's. Anita Mathis is asking about rain on Saturday night in Louisville. Thumbs up, thumbs down on that one.
It's going to rain. I mean, it depends what you consider Saturday night, but anything beyond 10 o'clock, I would say the window's open. Anything after midnight, absolutely.
And I just have 2 last questions. They're asking about, is there severe potential? And I never want to not answer that. Tanya's asking about Salem and Pekin for Saturday night. How bad? I never answer with bad, because what you may consider bad, I may not. I mean, remember, I was a quarter mile away from an EF5 tornado, so my view is a little different. I've been in a Category 5 hurricane, but I only mention that because bad is a relative term. Do I think you're going to see severe in either of those locations on Saturday night or Sunday? It's not going to be organized. If there was any severe, it would be rogue, and strong winds would be the primary problem. And then Mary is saying, is Jeffersonville in the clear? You're going to see rain on Saturday night into Sunday. I don't think it's going to be a large-scale severe event. So, guys, number 1, we have still a lot of people on our Facebook pages and our YouTube pages. First, if you appreciate the Facebook Lives, let's see the appreciation with thumbs up and some hearts flying across the screen. Please share the video, whether it's my page or Rick's page or the WDRB News page. When you share, you let your friends know that they can still come back in and watch this video after it ended. And there's a lot of good content in here. So even after the video ends, it'd be great if you share it so you can get it out there. Lastly, if you're on YouTube, and we've seen a lot of people on X and on YouTube tonight, we appreciate you guys joining us. This is our Studio C. Studio C is the newest part of what we do at WDRB.
Old Charlie.
It gives us the ability to do streaming coverage in a professional way. Rick, this was a dream of ours. We saw somebody today that posted a picture of looked like maybe a picnic table with some cardboard that they bought at I don't know. It looked like they bought it at Staples, and they put it together and threw a couple lights on. And these are some of the people that are streaming out here. And honestly, what we tried to do, we work in a professional television environment with a large studio. We do that on TV every single day, but we wanted to bring that into the streaming space as well. And what you're going to see is we have a full production board with the ability to move cameras, show different graphics, change locations, put multiple things on the air at the same time, pop all of us up on camera, me talk to you specifically, then Rick talk to us specifically, and then Rick specifically on camera. What we did is we wanted to bring professionalism into the streaming space.
And don't forget what backs all this up. We have 6 weather systems to tap into at any point in time, and to gather information, gather your pictures, reanalyze, update. And so there's just so much behind the scenes that you don't, I mean, you're just seeing the front end. The back end, which is the brains of the operation too, that's massive as well. So we can't forget about that side.
And we just wanted to bring a professional WDRB level into the streaming space, and that's what you have now. And this will be here, and we'll be doing this all the time during severe, during snow. As you can imagine, this is going to become exceedingly valuable during those types of events.
Or I'll be out in the snow usually I'm on the road.
Fair.
But I'll come back with my crazy hair after taking my hat off, and
I'll bring you right back on set here to do a stream. So first off, again, thank you guys for joining us here. We were on for about an hour or so. Reminder, I'm going to be on WDRB News at 10 o'clock. New data will roll in. I will analyze for front moving across the area tonight, how much cooler by Thursday, and trust me, it looks really, really good. We're going to look at the data and make some adjustments to our rain timeline on Saturday. My times are 10, 10:22, and 10:37. If that doesn't work, Rick DeLuca's right back at this at 11 o'clock. He'll have top of the hour weather around 11 to 11:05, talking about, again, the cold front that slips through tonight. And then he'll be able to look at a little more data than I can and update at 11:22 based on late data, what you should expect going into the weekend. So we appreciate you guys here. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you at 10. He sees you at 11.